Welcome to episode 23 of the Blasting Basketballs podcast. I'm your host, Steve Gjino, joined today by Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. Jason, your boy Joe Rogan's not doing too well nowadays. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, he's in hot water. He apologized. He said some racy things, but he apologized. We all make mistakes. We all live. We all learn. Moving on.
And Jalen, it's your first time on the pod, so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I must ask, are you related to James Harden?
James Harden? I mean, I wish I was.
But yeah, me and Jalen have known each other for a while. We used to ball together. Kind of a similar story to me and Jason, where we knew each other through basketball, really. So now we're bonding through basketball yet again.
Yeah. Starting line.
So with it being episode 23 and all, can you guys think of any number 23s in NBA history? Like, does anybody stand out to you?
Yeah,
no, I don't think there is a famous number 23 in basketball. I really don't.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't really put a finger on it.
I was thinking of Cam Johnson.
He's probably the best one. I mean, he's leading the league in three-point shooting, right?
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah, he's probably the best of all time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But before we jump into things, I just wanted to do some trivia to kind of warm up a little bit, and then we can actually jump into the trade deadline and the state of the season and all that. So you guys cool with that?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Yep. So my first question, and I guess I'll ask this to Jason, and if Jason can't get it, then I'll ask Jalen. So as of today, February 12th, 2022, who leads the NBA in steals per game?
Okay. I'm going to say DeJounte Murray.
That's correct.
Oh.
Are you cheating?
No, I had no idea. I actually was just like.
Oh, wow.
I just came up with that.
That was nice. Okay. Jalen, your turn. Who leads the NBA in assists per game?
Chris Paul.
Wow. You guys know your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Definitely Chris Paul, bro. That guy gets like 15 assists every game.
Yeah. He just had 19 the other day, too.
Yeah. Oh, against my Bucks, man. That was a whooping.
That thing got out of hand pretty quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Then I got one more question for Jason, and then if he can't get it, then Jalen. So, who leads the league in three-point percentage?
Well, like, it's not just some guy who just shot 1 3 and made 1 3, right?
Yeah, I checked NBA.com for this.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Gary Trent. That's probably wrong.
It was wrong, but it's a solid effort. All right, Jalen, your turn.
See, I have two people that come to mind. I want to say Cam Johnson because I looked this up after he was snubbed for the three-point contest, and I saw he was up there. But I also saw PJ Tucker was up there, so my final answer is going to be PJ Tucker.
You got it.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. That's like a cheat code, though. It's like
the corners, right?
Yeah, that corner three.
Yeah. Deadly from that corner.
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about today was the trade deadline because it was definitely one of the more eventful ones in recent memory. There was the big trade of Ish Smith for Montrezl Harrell that everybody's talking about. So
definitely the blockbuster of the week.
But how do you guys feel about the season in general? Because we haven't talked about it yet. For me, the season has been interesting because the rule changes have made it a bit different from prior seasons where we have you can't bait people into fouling or I think the last 2-minute reviews have changed a bit too, where you can't check every single deflection out of bounds, things like that. So it seems like the league's gotten a little bit more physical in terms of those things. Plus, you can't hook your arm into the other guy like James Harden used to do, things like that. Mm-hmm. So we've definitely seen Harden struggle a bit more on the offensive end. Uh, so, Jason, how have you felt about the season so far, and any big stories that you want to talk about?
I'm just kind of waiting for the playoffs. Regular season, I feel like teams kind of just go through the motions and, they don't play all their cards. So, but I think it's interesting how everyone thought the Suns and Bucks kind of made it to the finals just because of injury. And now they look like the two best teams in the league, like without the injury. So I think.
Yeah, I'd probably say the two best teams are the Suns and Warriors, but the Bucks, they're the defending champs. You can't say they're not, So.
Yeah, and they just got Serge Ibaka, which will give them nice size, and they haven't had Brook Lopez all season, so.
Serge was a sneaky pickup. It was.
Yeah, but they gave up DiVincenzo, which kind of bittersweet.
And then another thing that's different about this season from prior seasons is the East seems to be deeper than the West, where it's always seemed like the West is the better conference, but now like you have the Suns and you have the Warriors, but other than that, I mean.
You know what else is interesting is the Lakers and the Nets are collapsing.
Yeah, they're both in the play-in right now, I believe. So
yeah,
nobody expected that. Everybody thought that'd be the finals matchup this year.
Yeah.
It just goes to show, like, you think, pairing together these stars is going to result in an automatic championship, but then, there's different things that go into it too, like luck, peaking at the right time, injuries, things like that.
Yeah, so. Having Russell Westbrook or not.
Oh my God, I was telling you, like, Westbrook's 2K rating used to be a 95 just a couple years ago, and now it's an 81. Like,
yeah, that's tough to do.
When I saw that, dude, I was like, "Geez."
Mm-hmm. But how about Jalen? Yeah. What does Jalen think about this season?
All it looks like.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I don't know if I just glitched out or something, but.
Wow, you came at the right time though. We were just gonna ask you about the season and anything that you want to mention about the season so far.
Yeah, so there's a few teams that I've been really interested in that have kind of come out and semi out of the Bulls I was kind of expecting to make the playoffs, but teams like the Cavs and the Timberwolves, that the Cavs are in the top 3 seed in the East right now.
Grizzlies.
Timberwolves are in the playoff picture. I kind of didn't expect either of those two teams to be up here, but those two teams have been very surprising to me. And just the East as a whole being as close as it is to me is very interesting. Mm-hmm. It's gonna make the end of the season very, very nice to watch.
Yeah, the Cavs look great, and JB Bickerstaff's probably going to be coach of the year. And I think that Karis LeVert pickup, that was like perfect. And,
definitely.
And they don't have Colin Sexton still. Who knows how they might trade him? They might not even need him, but and then they got Evan Mobley, who's like probably rookie of the year. Like they got a bright future, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win a chip in coming years. So
yeah, actually I wanted to shout out the Cavs because nobody expected them to be in the playoffs, never mind the 3 seed or even potentially the 1 seed, because they're so close. Like the East, the difference between the 8th seed and the 1 seed is like a few games, so like it's anybody's game. And it seems like playing in the Olympics gave Darius Garland a boost in confidence, because he was good before, but now he's playing like a true all-star, which he is. And Evan Mobley, like you mentioned, rookie of the year. Jared Allen. I can't believe Jared Allen's my age. Because like looking at that dude, I'm like, what? Like
he's an underrated defender too. I was watching him against Giannis, and he was giving Giannis some trouble. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I remember Giannis mentioning that these aren't the Cavs of the past few years. They're actually a legitimate title contender, which is a breath of fresh air in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I also want to shout out the Grizzlies and Ja Morant. He's definitely a strong MVP candidate. He's probably not going to win just because it's not like mainstream to do that. I think Embiid's probably going to win, but Ja Morant, he's like averaging 30 points a game on like 50% field goal percentage. Just as a guard, that's crazy.
Remember when Desmond Bane was talking crap to LeBron, and LeBron was like, "Oh, stop talking, just play ball." But like a couple of games before that, LeBron was like flexing and stuff on the team. Like, I don't know. I hate that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
When
I
like you
like
tell one
Desmond
guy
Bane.
to stop, like
Yeah,
Yeah, Desmond Bane's having a really nice season. Do you guys think he has a chance to win Most Improved?
I think so.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
usually when a guy makes that leap from like I think he averaged like 7 a game to like what does he average now? Like 20 around there? Like
Just
that's
about, yeah.
definitely in contention for that.
yeah. It looks like Ja Morant's probably gonna win that though, according to Vegas. He's like minus 500.
Hmm.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, and then you got Miles Bridges in second, and then
yeah.
Darius Garland third,
All good choices.
DeJounte Murray fourth, Jared Allen fifth, and then you got Desmond Bane in sixth there.
Hmm.
What about your most entertaining team? Like not necessarily the best team, but a team that you really like watching.
Grizzlies are definitely one of them because I also am a Morant fan and a Jaren Jackson fan, so they're nice to watch, especially because they're pretty dominant this year.
Yep.
Mhm.
I thought of it because Jason mentioned the Hornets and Miles Bridges, and I mean LaMelo Ball is like
That's
one
a
of the
good one
best
too.
shows in the league. Like so, yeah,
Yeah, they're fun to watch. They have been sputtering recently.
Yeah,
I think they lack size. They don't really have a good post defender or just a big guy in general. They got Montrezl Harrell, but I mean, he's not really a defender.
yeah.
he brings energy though, and they definitely need that. It's really important.
Yeah,
That's a slept-on factor in the league is guys that bring energy like Marcus Smart, Patrick Beverly, Montrezl Harrell.
yeah, and
Mm.
chemistry slept on too. Like people think you can just like. I saw some guy say the Bucks should trade like Chris Middleton for Lillard. I'm like, hell no. Like Middleton and Giannis have like grew in this league together. Like that would
Yeah.
just fracture the whole team. Like,
Mm.
So speaking of trading Lillard, CJ McCollum got traded by the Blazers and for Josh Hart and a few other players, and it was sad to see that happen just because they were together for like 9 years. So I kind of grew accustomed to watching them play every night, and it's kind of sad to see them finally break up. How'd you guys feel about that?
well, I used to be a Blazers fan until they traded Gary Trent, who I think is better than CJ is right now.
You could make that argument. I mean, CJ is coming back from that collapsed lung, which is a freak
Oh
injury.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll give him some slack on that. But I think it was just it was time. The Blazers been like swept in the playoffs like 4 out of 5 years, something like that, and they weren't going anywhere. They got to blow it up, and I'm surprised they didn't trade Lillard. Like he he's he's a little too loyal. Like I respect it, but you know
Yeah.
he's got to go somewhere.
Remember when he told Paul George like at least I didn't run from the grind, but like
Yeah,
now he's
yeah, but
with that team.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
you're running
interested.
into the ground, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Lillard because it seems like they want to go with the whole free agency side of things and try to get people in free agency with the amount of cap space they're creating. But it depends on what free agents are going to be available to begin with, and what free agents are going to want to go there. That's going to make them in contention. So
Yeah,
that's going to be something to look at coming this offseason.
yeah. I don't know if anyone wants to go there. Do you see what Gary Trent's dad said?
I did not. What he said.
He said like Gary Trent was like depressed playing in Portland. Like he wasn't getting the minutes. He just wasn't feeling himself. So and then he went to Toronto and now he's like this whole new guy. He's like happy and enjoying life. But
He's certainly playing like it.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
a change of scenery can do wonders. And I actually thought the Simmons trade was going to be for Lillard. Like all along, I thought it was going to be Simmons for Lillard. I didn't think it would be Simmons for Harden, because I thought Harden's value was too high. Because
yeah, I thought the same.
in my opinion, Lillard's like a step down from Harden, if from in talent wise. Do you agree with that?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about clutch wise though.
I can see that. Yep. But yeah, why not talk about it? So the biggest trade wasn't Ish Smith for Montrezl Harrell. It was actually James Harden for um, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. So that's a lot to give up. And I've seen some debates on who won that trade. So I'll give this question to Jason. Who do you think won that trade between the Nets and the Sixers?
I think both teams kind of won because
Can't say that.
yeah, that's a cop out. I'm gonna say Philly won just because Simmons is a big baby and he wasn't gonna play ever, so they had to get rid of him somehow. And now they have a legitimate chance. You know, that's what wins championships is, you know, star players. So yeah, I think Philly won, and yeah, that's my take.
Jalen, what about you?
So I think 100% for this season currently that Philly won because we still don't. KD's still injured right now. We still don't know what happens with Kyrie in the future since he's only playing half the games right now. So I think for this season it's definitely going to be geared towards Philly. I think next year is going to be interesting. I think getting Seth Curry was a huge grab, especially with Joe Harris being hurt and his shooting at the end of the last season not being up to par. So I think getting Seth Curry to pair with Simmons and KD definitely helps a lot. But I definitely think as of right now, it's Philly.
Yeah, key word this season.
Yeah. You can never have too many shooters like with the Nets adding Seth Curry. Plus, it's obvious that the Sixers are in win now mode with they're adding James Harden, who's 32 years old. His window is not going to be open for that much longer. And he's kind of having an off season, or he was in Brooklyn. And I mean, he's still averaging like almost a triple double. So an off season for James Harden is different from a lot of other people's off seasons.
Yeah.
But no, I remember Harden scored like 4 points in 37 minutes, and that's when I knew something was off with him, like mentally, because there's no way James Harden is scoring that little in that many minutes. So when you pair 2 MVPs together like that, you're giving yourself a chance against anybody. So long term, the Nets really set themselves up well, especially with getting those 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, and I mean, if Ben Simmons can, get his act together and, play.
That's another situation. Like, I can't believe Simmons just sat out half the season because he was like unhappy with Embiid. Like, that's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I'm sure Embiid's not too mad about it, especially since he's out of there. Especially based on that tweet he tweeted out. But I am a little bit surprised as well.
That tweet was it was like the guy at a funeral, right?
Yeah.
He was like celebrating Simmons finally gone. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then when he was asked about it, he was like, "Oh, I just thought the guy dressed well." Like
yeah, he looks fly. I had to post it.
Oh, in a similar level of petty, remember when it wasn't that long ago, but when KD had to choose between Rudy Gobert and James Harden.
That All-Star selection, that show was amazing. Just
it was so
Charles
funny.
Barkley cracking jokes throughout the whole thing. It was just amazing to watch.
It was hilarious, yeah. And it shows like what it could be like if people that interviewed players actually knew some stuff about basketball, because like the questions they were asking Braun and KD were actually like good questions, and we got good jokes out of them. Where like sideline reporters ask them these like bland questions, like we don't really get anything out of the players. So like I think bringing in guys that actually played the game and having them ask questions would be a lot better, and we saw that during the All-Star draft.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the second biggest trade now with Sabonis and Tyrese?
Yeah. No, I've seen a lot of people saying that the Kings got fleeced. I don't really think so, just because they got Sabonis, who's a proven all-star. I do understand that Halliburton's really young, but Fox and Halliburton they play the same position. So you can't, stack too much talent in your backcourt. So I do think pairing Fox with an all-star was a good idea. An all-star big man was a good idea. What about you guys?
You want to take that, Jalen?
Oh yeah. So at first I was pretty surprised they got rid of Halliburton, but then started thinking about it a little more, and it's going to be hard to have both Fox and Halliburton in at the same time if they're going to both want the ball in their hands. And then on top of that, the fact that like you said, you get someone in Sabonis, who plays the big position, who can pass as well. So that helps Fox if Fox wants to like cut to the basket and stuff. So that's definitely in the right direction. They just need to make sure they get some shooters around Sabonis and Fox, and then maybe get like another defensive big, because Sabonis isn't a defender himself. So get someone who can anchor the defense down low. I think those are two priorities coming up now after that trade.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what the Kings need, is like a scoring big man and someone proven in this league. And I probably would have preferred them to trade Fox over Tyrese, but that's probably, they had to trade Tyrese in order to get that deal. So, but yeah, I don't think like JJ Redick is like threw a tantrum. Was like, I can't believe the Kings traded Tyrese. Like, I don't think it was that big a deal. Like, Sabonis is a pretty good player too. So.
Yeah, I mean, Sabonis is proven. Halliburton has shown flashes, but he hasn't proven himself as an all-star yet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's definitely treading in that direction.
Yeah, and Sabonis is still young too. It's not like you traded some 30-year-old for a rookie. It's like,
yeah, I think Sabonis is like 25, but it was kind of tough giving up Buddy Hield too, because Buddy Hield is that shooting that you need on the Kings.
Yeah.
But his name was thrown in trade rumors a lot, so yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield's getting up there with age, right? Isn't he like 30 now? As weird as that is.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I think he's up there in age. I might actually check that right
now. Yeah.
Speaking about the Pelicans trade with the Blazers, has there been any updates on Zion? Because like he's just been out like forever.
I think he's retired.
Yeah, I have not seen anything. I saw like a while ago that he stopped doing like some team drills because he needed more time, and that was the last thing I saw on him, and that was like a month or two ago. So
yeah, it's been disappointing because like he's such a good show to watch. Like he's one of the most entertaining players I've seen in a while. Like he's like mobile Shaq. Like
yeah,
I think he just he got really kind of fat in the off season.
I don't even know if he's fat. It's just like that's his body type. Like what can you do? Like I mean it's a lot of man.
He can definitely cut a few pounds though. He got
potentially.
Yeah, like he was lighter last season. Did you see pictures of him this off season? He was looking chunky.
Yeah, it's just sad that because everybody thought he'd be injury prone, and so far that's been the case. So
yeah,
sad. So the next trade I was going to bring up is it's not a huge trade, but it's Norman Powell to the Clippers for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and Keon Johnson. Yeah. So that's a pretty solid trade for the Clippers. One thing that I don't like about that trade for the Clippers is that it breaks up their continuity, because they actually had something good going before that trade. Like they were hovering at 500 without PG, without Kawhi. So breaking up that chemistry is a little tough, because since then they've been on a losing streak. So again, like you mentioned, Jason, chemistry is really important. It's not just going out and grabbing all the best players, because that's never going to work. But yeah, any takes on that trade?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think the Clippers season is a lost season because Paul George is out for the season, right? So
it's not confirmed, but it's looking like it.
Yeah, so I think it'll be good for next year, and they'll have time to build chemistry. But what really, it's just so disappointing for the Blazers. They basically traded Gary Trent for Eric Bledsoe and some picks. It's like, what are you doing, you know?
Yeah, that is tough. They fumbled that one.
Yeah.
Gotta say
Yeah,
that.
it comes down to them wanting the cap space. It's going to
yeah.
be interesting to see what they do with it. I mean, I don't know how much they're going to be able to do with it, but that's the direction they wanted to go, and they're gonna if they really still want to keep Lillard and build around him using that cap space, they're gonna really need to make sure they hit on it, because you can't go back and re-get the Gary Trent and then trade him again for a piece that you can actually use. You're gonna have to hit on that cap space, so
Yeah.
they're gonna really need to make sure they do their job this offseason.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Clippers, because I actually watched the Clippers a good amount. Paul George is one of my favorite players, so I really like the Clippers. Luke Kennard made the three-point contest, which was great to see because he's had a pretty good season. He's had some good games. Remember that game winner against the Wizards? Like that 35-point comeback, like. Because I think before that, teams were like 1 in 18,000 in games where they were down 35.
Really?
So that's a crazy stat.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wonder what the other win was.
Oh, I think it was the Jazz when they had Karl Malone. They came back from like 36. I saw that.
Wow.
It's a crazy comeback.
Yeah, generational type of comeback right there.
Yeah. And then another trade that I was going to bring up is Spencer Dinwiddie for Kristaps. So the Mavs gave up on the Kristaps experiment, which is sad for them because he's actually a really good player. KD called him the unicorn a while back, but ever since that, it seems like he can't stay on the floor consistently. So, yeah, I mean, I think Spencer Dinwiddie's a pretty good player. He's had a bit of a down season, but I think it was because him and Beal didn't get along, from what I've heard. I know Bradley Beal, but yeah. So, any comments on that?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I originally saw that. I wasn't expecting Porzingis to get traded during the deadline. Like I thought if they would trade him, it'd be like during the off season. I mean, he's had Porzingis had a solid season, but like you said, he just can't really stay on the court. So, I mean, you're gonna want someone on the court with Luka. I mean, he's already championship ready. Luka's just amazing, really. So you want players around him that can stay on the court.
Yeah.
It is going to be interesting since I wonder what they're going to do with Brunson, because I heard that Goran Dragic wanted to go to the Mavs if he's bought out. So it's going to be interesting how the guards work out there if Goran does end up going there, because then you'd have Brunson, Dinwiddie, and Goran on top of having Luka handle the ball. So that it's going to be interesting to see what comes of that.
Yeah, Luka's amazing. He had 51 the other night, like 28 in the first quarter.
He had the same amount of points as the Clippers in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Oh, he haunts the Clippers. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely.
If Kristaps was healthy last year, they definitely would have made it to the second round, I think.
Definitely.
Which is sad to say for me.
Yeah, Porzingis being hurt last year definitely hindered his play a lot. He just didn't seem like he was really making the right plays or anything, and some of it was definitely because he was injured. Because he didn't look like he wanted to like make contact too much with other players. There was a few times where it seemed like he could have had an open layup, but then just settled for the jumper.
Yeah, he had a little bit of what I like to call the Julius Randle syndrome, where he's a big guy who plays like a guard, you know?
Yeah, that's been a major critique of Kristaps is he's 7'3". There's no doubt that he can go in the paint and just dunk on everybody or just lay it up over everybody.
Yeah.
But he chooses to shoot on the perimeter.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to just sweep through the little trades real quick?
We don't have to, just because they're not very significant.
Hey, Derek White.
I do. I was gonna say I do want to talk about Derek White real quick, especially after that game last night.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That was a sneaky trade.
Definitely, and he just fits the Celtics very well. especially since Udoka already was on the Spurs before. So I mean, he's familiar with White, and he just seems like he fits the team so well. He just makes the right plays. Great defender from what it looks like. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if the Harden and Simmons trade didn't go down. I feel like this trade would have been even more sneaky than what it originally was. But now you have to look out for Philly, on top of the Bucks. But I mean, that defense for the Celtics is going to be stifling.
Yeah, every Spurs fan that I've seen talk about him, White, they've all praised him a lot, and I saw like Spurs fans.
Yeah, my bad.
No, that's cool. Spurs fans always talk about their players being like these, great players, but they're usually just system players. So I don't think Derek White's going to be like this all-star, but he's definitely going to fit well alongside Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown. So that's going to be a nice fit. Him and Marcus Smart seem to have similar roles. One thing that I wanted to say is I was talking to a friend about the trade, and he was like, "Who the hell's Derek White?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, he's on the Spurs, so you wouldn't know who he is. Like nobody watches the Spurs."
Yeah,
casual.
Yeah, and we gave up Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, and a first-round pick. Yeah, my friend was like, "Romeo Langford, why would we give him up?" And I'm like, "Langford's not going to be anything for us."
I don't understand that. Like, what has he done?
Yeah.
Celtics fans just kind of get like infatuated with their rookies sometimes. Like, who else was that Antonio guy?
Bruno Fernando?
No, that Antonio. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. But
I'm trying to think of Antonios that are on the Celtics. I mean, Antonio.
I'm gonna try to see who I'm talking about. But yeah, that sound. You know how ESPN I was looking at the box score and they just play the video. Yeah, that was that sound. That was freaking ESPN.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention about the Sixers and Nets trade is that Daryl Morey did a really good job of staying pat, like not jumping the gun and like going for a trade too quick. He really like waited a long time to get the best value out of Simmons. And Simmons' value was so low before, like nobody wanted him before. And then over time, people like almost forgot about what happened last year. And he got James Harden out of it, which props to him.
Yeah, if he was to trade Simmons early, I feel like the only player they should have went after was someone like Lillard, since there was also talks if like Lillard and the Blazers are gonna continue being together. But that would be like the only player that I thought like if they were to trade Simmons like right away, like they should go after Lillard. But now they got Harden out of it. Harden wants to play in Philly. So it's gonna be very, very interesting this last stretch of the season. They play this. I think Harden's first game might actually be against the Celtics on Tuesday. So that's going to be a nice watch for sure.
Yeah, he's healthy now.
Yeah.
And the Celtics are turning the corner. They're on a win streak, so that's going to be a good game.
Yep.
All right. So just to wrap up, I'm going to ask each of you who you're predicting to win the championship. Non-biased, no bias. Jalen, you can go first.
I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns. They just seem like they gel perfectly together. Chris Paul and Devin Booker are just a match made in heaven. It's just watching them just brings tears to my eyes, tears of joy. It's just Booker in his scoring. Chris Paul can just handle like the pace of the play, and then when things get into the clutch moments, they're just amazing in the clutch this season. I really don't see that changing. Who they play, I think it will end up being the Bucks, but I mean Philly can end up making some noise. But I do think it'll be a rematch last year, and I think Phoenix comes out on top.
Jason?
Yeah, it's boring, but I agree. I think it will be a rematch. But I think the Grizzlies and the Cavs will make some noise. They might upset in the first round, depending on who they play. But I got the Bucks. I like the back-to-back free Chick-fil-A for life. You know, that's probably biased, but is it biased when it's like it's realistic? I don't know.
No, it's very realistic.
Yeah, and
last year, you know.
And I think if they get Brook Lopez and Serge Ibaka back, and you know they and Bobby Portis is playing on another level this year, so sad to see DiVincenzo go, but Grayson Allen will fill that void, and yeah, I think it'll be a rematch, and hopefully it goes better than the last game a couple days ago. So, you know, they were playing with their cards close to their chest. You know, they didn't want to give up too much of the game plan.
Yeah, one thing I like about the Suns is their roster is probably the most well-rounded in the league, and they have a lot of balance, a lot of depth, a lot of veteran leadership, and Chris Paul does a great job of kind of making everybody better. Like DeAndre Ayton's development from last season has been crazy, so he's probably one of the best bigs in the league now.
I don't know about that. He's been kind of in and out of the lineup, and he got COVID, and then he had some ankle thing, and then.
Oh yeah, but just as the quality of player, like Chris Paul makes him a lot better.
Yeah, from
the whole team in general.
From last year to this year, though.
Oh well, just like saying like, because like last year in the regular season he wasn't like the quality of player that he is now.
Yeah.
So like over time, Chris Paul helped him become a better player.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Paul does that with a lot of bigs.
Yeah, he's an orchestrator. He's an artist, and like when he passes the ball, it's like right on the money. And so like he could pass it to like Shaq for 3, and he would make it just because it was a perfect pass,
Yeah. I mean, just look at Bismack Biyombo, coming back out of nowhere, and the Suns were on a huge win streak with Biyombo in the starting lineup. So even just that just shows how much Chris Paul can help the big men, help really any big men succeed.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny. I got NBA TV, and like it's been life changing. I can't lie. Like the analysis on there is like top notch. Like compared to like other analysis that I've heard, like they actually know what they're talking about on there. So it's definitely been a breath of fresh air. I don't know if you guys have NBA TV, but
no.
I used
how much
to have
is
NBA TV, but I kind of want to get it again because I did used to really like watching it.
Yep, I recommend it.
How much is it?
I don't know. It came with YouTube TV because I switched from cable to YouTube TV.
Okay. So if we're not gonna, let's say the Bucks and Suns don't make it, who's gonna make it? Warriors and Philly?
I don't know about Philly. Like you compare 2 great players together, but is it really guaranteed to work? I like Miami more than Philly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Miami too.
Yeah, they're the 1 seed for a reason.
And on the West, I think if it comes down to a series between the Grizzlies and the Warriors, I actually think the Grizzlies will take that series. They seem like they play the Warriors really well, based on these past 2 seasons.
Hot take.
I
like that.
They beat them in the play-in last year. They played really. I'm pretty sure they beat them this year in the regular season. I know the playoffs are like the playoff series is a different caliber, but I mean they just seem very like a very good matchup for the Warriors. So I'll take the Grizzlies.
That's hot. I don't know about that because Clay's still kind of getting his feet under him, and Draymond's been out. Yeah, Draymond's gonna come back, so Warriors are probably gonna make some noise. They're gonna be out for blood just because they've been, they haven't been at full strength the last 3 years or something.
Yeah, it was nice seeing Clay come back. How about Andrew Wiggins being an all-star starter?
I was very shocked by that. Very shocked.
Yeah, that's why we need a dictatorship in this country.
Or it should be like positionless, or like at least like Luka should have been considered a forward. So like he could have been a small forward,
Yeah, I think he got in because Andrew Wiggins is a K-pop fan. So
Really?
so like a bunch of these like K-pop fans just voted for him. And that's how he got in.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, like, another thing on that too, it's like, I mean, like, what's Wiggins doing this year that someone like Mikal Bridges isn't doing, or someone like Jaren Jackson isn't doing? I feel like, you know, Mikal and JJJ are all doing similar, if not better things than Wiggins, and Wiggins is starting, and neither one of those two are in the game as is. So
Right.
I found that interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of options there. That, like Booker could have been there. A lot of people could have been there. But
Yeah.
that's the fan vote for you.
But yeah, just to wrap up, any final thoughts? The Cam Johnson episode?
Yeah, I'm still shocked Cam Johnson didn't make the 3-point shooting contest. I don't know how that kit comes about, but he definitely should be in that contest.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
how that was decided. But yeah, as a Clippers fan, I hope PG and Kawhi come back this year, but that's probably not happening. So I'm rooting for the Celtics.
All right.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the Celtics. I mean, they've been playing great during this recent stretch. It's going to be interesting to see what they do come playoff time, and just the final seeding in the East. That's what's going to be very interesting to me. I mean, the Nets are down at the 8th seed right now. Toronto's in the playoffs right now as well, so pretty sure they're the 6th seed. So that's what I'm going to be mainly watching during this home stretch of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't believe the Hawks are like the 10th seed.
That's I'm surprised about. They
Yeah.
got off to such a horrid start.
Yeah, and the Knicks are 12th. They were 4th last season.
Yeah, that's a huge drop.
It just
Both those teams just huge drops.
it shows you how tight the East is.
Hmm.
It's a deep conference. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was episode 23, the Michael Jordan episode of the Blasting Basketballs podcast. Thanks for coming on, Jalen and Jason.
Thank you guys for having me. It's definitely great being here for my first episode. It was really nice.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a good
man.
time.
Yeah, you were good. You were good, man. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
All right. Peace
that was
out.
fun. Take care.
Yeah, take care, y'all.
See you.